What's up everybody, and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at this 2024 Jeep Wrangler. This is a two-door Sport S finished off in Anvil. MSRP is $47,000. Big shout out and thank you real quick to Feeney, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram for providing this new Wrangler for today's video. Take a look at their website, link down below. Underneath the hood of this 2024 Jeep Wrangler two-door, you're going to find the 2-liter inline 4-cylinder turbocharged engine. It's pumping out 270 horsepower with 295 pound-feet of torque. It's also paired to the 8-speed automatic transmission, and of course this is a 4-wheel drive vehicle. Towing is around 2,000 pounds on this Jeep Wrangler. It runs on a 17.5 gallon fuel tank, and you're looking at 22 miles per gallon in the city with 24 out on the highway, and overall curb weight is about 4,000 pounds. Overall length is 166.8 inches with a wheelbase at 96.8. Width is 73.9 and height is 73.6. A two-door Jeep Wrangler is incredibly capable off-road. Approach angle is 41 degrees, breakover angle is 25 degrees, ground clearance is about 9.7 inches, and then departure angle is 36 degrees. Moving on to the exterior styling with the 2024 Jeep Wrangler. The two-door, of course, is the smaller version. A 4-door is available. Styling on the Wrangler is pretty iconic with all the classic design elements. You're going to see those massive round headlights with a chrome housing and then the traditional 7 bars in the grille. You can see all the mesh to provide a ton of cooling to that turbo engine, and then those protruding outwards fender flares with those turn signals. You can see the chrome housings along the fog lights and the front bumper protruding outwards. You can see also the black color for those tow hooks. This design has been around since the introduction of the Wrangler a very long time ago, and definitely is unmistakable. Now down below the bumper you're going to see a little bit of a skid plate underneath, just made out of plastic, just to help keep a little bit of protection and dirt off of the underside. You can also see this Anvil color in the sunlight, really nice looking gray, and I love the American flag color for this vinyl graphic on the hood. You also have the rubber bumpers, that way when you fold your windshield down, you have a nice safe place to put it. And then moving to the side profile, you can see the side of these massive fender flares. You're also going to see a really cool looking design for the wheel with that old school Jeep in the center, two-tone color along the rim itself, and these are 17-inch diameter. We have a nice off-road focused wheel, and you can see part of the suspension components up in front. This does have a solid front axle with the coil spring and damper, and the trailing arm as well. And you can also see Jeep and Wrangler with your American flag, trail rated badge, no more whip antenna, which is a nice modern touch. And then you can see those exposed door hinges. Of course, the roof and doors are all removable on these Wranglers. You can see the plastic mirror caps and a super squared off design. This particular spec has the black 3-piece plastic roof. It'll come off in 2 sections above the passengers, and then the rear section is all one piece. And you can see that super boxy design, which is kind of legendary for how these are shaped. Super simple design. There's one sharp body line cutting through the side profile underneath that roof area. And then you can see the fender flares in the back fading into this rear bumper. All plastic, super simple. Nice set of LED taillights, your exposed hinges, and a full-size rear tire for the spare. You have your backup camera right in the center, an adjustable third brake light, hinges for that glass. You're also going to see your release handle back here, gas cap is on the left, and then another look at the plastic rear bumper. We have a tow hook on the left side, trailer hitch connections all throughout it, and somewhat of a high clearance exhaust system. And then moving on to the rear area, if you just grab this handle, we can open up this swing door. You're going to see some of the specifications for the JL Wranglers on this back, and you can just manually open up that glass. You have a pretty decent amount of storage space in here with the rear seats up, and you can even grab the floor, and there's hidden storage space, and then even areas for your door hinge bolts, as well as the roof and windshield bolts. So not too bad for being a pretty small vehicle. The headrests themselves will also fold upwards, and then just pulling that, you're going to see them fall down. And then from here, we can pull the center lever and push this downwards to have your second row out of the way a little bit. From here, clamping it all the way forward, we can lift up the back and it'll open up to reveal more storage space, and then you can of course completely remove these, since that could be in the way if you need a little bit extra space. But it's nice to see at least how much storage space you're going to have, and then from here we can easily pull this back into position. And then we can manually close down the glass, grab the handle, and now we can move on to the interior. Looking at the key fob, it says Jeep on one side. You have lock, unlock, remote start, and then a physical key can even pop out if needed. So from here, there is a button if you want to lock or unlock it. Moving to the interior, I love how 2024 they did even update a basic trim like this. So you have some nicer materials. You're gonna see a black door panel, got some vinyl material, your grab handle, another handle underneath that to help you remove this off the hinge, a storage net down below, and then lock and unlock with all of your mirror controls. You do have manual controls for the seating. You can rotate this for your lumbar support, move this up and down, and then you have your recline, and then a pretty cool looking fabric material with more of a bronze color on the stitching. Makes its way up to the headrest almost, and then we have more of the bronze stitching along the steering wheel, and it's leather wrapped. And then now inside the new Wrangler, keeping my foot on the brake, we can go ahead and fire it up. That new screen will roar to life, and we get a pretty cool depiction of the original Wrangler turning into the JL. On the steering wheel, you're going to see controls on the left side, Bluetooth and audio, cruise control settings on the right, even with forward pacing. Using these ones right here, I can configure the center screen. You can see your speedometer and then all sorts of different vehicle information by scrolling left and right. If I continue down, you have some off-road settings like your powertrain. You can see your pitch and roll meter, driver's assistance, fuel economy info, and then a few more things are going to pop up as you continue to scroll down. You can see that analog tack on the left with your gear, and you can also see your speedometer on the right side, fuel and temperature right in the center, and then the stalk on the right for windshield wipers, turn signals on the left. Headlight controls are on the left side, and you got a pretty cool depiction of the JL. And you can see one of your air vents, some black plastic material across the dash, just a little bit of storage up on top. And I really like the new fabric with more of that stitching along the dashboard. You have your grab handle as well, and then taking a look at the new screen. So if we tap the home icon now, you can see it is configurable. You can adjust what you'd like to see. Swiping left and right, you have a few more shortcuts that would pop up. And you can also see your media control. Everything will pop up right here, your source, browse, all that sort of thing. Comfort pops up for all the climate control, heated seats as well as heated steering wheel. Phone integration, if you want to add that. And then going under vehicle, you can see your rear view camera popping up. If I go under dashboard, you can see the off-road pages. Really cool to see that even on the Sport S. You can see the vehicle dynamics, locking differential, pitch and roll, different accessory gauges as well. So I really like how they're really giving you some good off-road settings even in this trim. More settings within the truck, and then all of your different apps as well. And I also like how you can adjust different climate controls and a few shortcuts by tapping these icons up above. Now if I go ahead and put this into reverse, that backup camera is also going to pop up automatically. And then going back into park. You have two climate control vents down below, and then physical controls down below for climate as well. So you don't always have to go into the screen. You can just do this manually, dual zone temperature, defrost, all of your heated seats and everything in modes. Volume and tuning are on those other dials. Then you're going to see traction control, engine start stop, along with downhill assist. And then down below we have your two window controls, a 12 volt, media icon has a few auxiliaries. Extra auxiliaries are down below as well if you want to add lights and winches. Then we have our four-wheel drive transfer case with more of a manual selection. We have the old school Jeep on the top of the shift knob, and then you can see your cup holders with a cell phone holder. Got a manual park and brake. Opening this up, we have a little bit of storage, and then grabbing the second one, you even have a plug in the glove box. Now over on this right side, this will open up, good amount of space in here, and then one last look at the interior. It's a nice update from the previous year with a nicer screen along with the better fabric interior. So it's just a nice subtle update. You have speakers up here on the headliner, and then you can see all these latches is how you're gonna open up this roof. You can just pull all these latches down super simply, and then you're gonna pop off one panel at a time to remove these sections, and then you have some screws to remove the rear section. And then after sliding the driver's seat forwards and pulling this latch, gives you a little bit of an entry point to enter into the back, where you're gonna see two nice seats with all the same fabric. All right, sitting in the back seat now of the Wrangler two-door. While this is kind of a small SUV, for 5'11", I'm actually sitting here pretty comfortably. Plenty of headroom in here, and with the driver's seat set at my height, it's not too bad. You know, my knees are a little on the cramped side, but nonetheless, this is still pretty practical for being such a small SUV. If you want more space in your Wrangler, of course, get the 4-door. That's a much more normal size back seat. However, I kind of have an armrest with this fender arch, and there even are climate vents. So that is a really good touch. I think a lot of cars need to make that standard. But you have climate vents back here, of course, those speakers, and then a lot of glass, just given how the roof line is. So not a bad back seat for being the 2-door, and it definitely is a practical off-roader. All right, we are setting off now in the 4-cylinder Wrangler, giving it a little bit of throttle. Honestly, this thing is kind of peppy, especially being just the 2-door. It's not that big. It's fine. I don't really mind this engine, especially with the nice 8-speed. It seems pretty peppy to drive. Now, some basic things. This is not the best vehicle on the road. It is a little all over the place. It's kind of hard to keep it perfectly straight. You're gonna notice there's no lane keeping assist in this car because it would probably go off all day long on the highway. So the forward pacing does work really nicely, but you know, this is a solid axle off-roader that you can drive on the road. It's fine on the road, but it's certainly not the best. So you're just gonna notice that going 50, yeah, there's a lot of wind noise, even with the hardtop. So there's a lot of compromises when you're buying a Wrangler. However, if you're buying this, you kind of already know that, and you probably don't care. It's fine in here, like I said. The seats are comfortable enough. Again, they're not the most comfortable, but they're decent. Steering position and everything is pretty good. Visibility is fantastic. You can see out the front end so well, especially being such a small footprint. When you look over your left and right shoulder, the back of the car is right there, and you can see the entire hood and everything. Turning radius is amazing. Just doing that, I mean, that is the easiest U-turn ever. Like, you can maneuver this thing off-road so incredibly well. It is unlike anything. So that is where the Wrangler shines, especially in a 2-door configuration. It is so maneuverable, especially off-roading. When that does translate to on-road, you know, parking this, moving it around your driveway or something like that, it is just such an easy car to drive around. As far as the new tech, the new screen I love. It is a huge upgrade from before, and it's so nicely integrated. I know a lot of people aren't a fan of like the huge tablet size. This is just integrated nicely while it is out compared to the actual dash. It looks so good in here. I think it looks fantastic, just the way it works and everything. I mean, you have all the functions you're gonna need, and it's an easy reach. You know, sitting here, I barely have to reach to touch climate controls and to reach the screen. So I just like how it's simple and really user-friendly. This is such a simple vehicle, of course, with the controls and what you do have to offer in it. It's just one of those kind of tried and true old school retro cars, probably one of the most old school vehicles on sale currently. And they're fun to drive. Well, again, they're not the best on road. They're a little wobbly, just not the greatest. They're fun. They make you smile. They're fun to zip around. Of course, taking the doors and roof off, it just opens your life to a whole new adventure of a vehicle that not many others can do. Of course, now the Ford Bronco 2-door would be your biggest competition, but aside from that, there is nothing quite like driving in a Wrangler. It's really cool for sure. And at least the modern JL, plenty of power options. Of course, you can get the hybrid versions in some 4-doors, or you can get a V8 in the 4-door as well. For this one, I believe you can really just get this, or maybe the typical V6. So overall, they're cool. When you're on a decent road, like, it's definitely a lot quieter. Still, when you hit bumps, it's a little unsettling, but those small sacrifices translate into something really fun for adventure. If you're gonna be taking this off the pavement, that's where it shines, and that's where every single thing about this comes to life and becomes something that is just a blast to drive. All right, so turning around to my honest thoughts perspective with the Wrangler, it's one of those vehicles to where you can forgive it for not being that good on road. If you're trying to drive this fast or anything like that, you are buying the wrong thing. The handling leaves a ton to be desired. The steering is kind of big on the road. If you're used to basically anything else, this is gonna feel very interesting when you are hitting the roads. Once you understand that this truly is an off-road focused vehicle to where it truly shines off pavement, then it's like, okay, you know what, I can still drive it on the road and fine, just don't go too crazy on the roads. The death wobble could happen, those front wheels bouncing. So again, there's a lot of compromises to drive this as your daily. However, if you're driving around town, you're not gonna have an issue. It's fine to drive, it's comfortable enough, it's roomy enough. Got plenty of tech now for 2024, and the fit and finish has improved a lot to where it feels like a nice vehicle. Now, for $47,000, Still quite a lot of money for just a two-door that isn't a fully loaded Rubicon or anything like that. But even the 4-cylinder though, it feels peppy enough to where it's not like it's sluggish or way too slow for the pricing. And when you factor in what it can do off-road, it really comes to life. My brother owned one of these for a little while, a 4-door one, and even a stock Sport. We had a lot of fun trail riding with it, and it was just so darn capable. Especially the 4-wheel drive system, having those solid axles, you can just keep those tires on the ground and maintain traction. That is just a huge benefit of off-roading. So again, it's one of those vehicles that you just smile when you're in because you know how capable it is. You know that you can go on pretty much any adventure you would want to go on out in the wilderness, and it's just fun to cruise around. So turning radius once again, full lock. Look at that. I'm not even in a 2-lane and I don't think I touched the grass. It's just so capable. And the changes for 2024, I think, got it up a notch to where it feels a lot nicer, especially with the screen now and the newer fabric. So it's a cool car, it's fun. You know, it's just one of those things that you know you're making some sacrifices to actually own one of these. The Ford Bronco is significantly better on the road. It's a lot smoother, a lot more solid feeling. I think the interior on that is a little bit more up to date. I think this 2024 got this more on par with it. But if you do want this capability and the fun factor, the 2-door Bronco is going to be better all around. However, if you are doing that extra rock crawling to where you need that front end articulation and you don't want to spec a Bronco to get the front end sway bar disconnect, you know, this is going to do better for that circumstance. So it really would be a toss-up depending on which one you would want to go with. If you're doing more on-road driving, the Bronco is going to be better. However, if you're going to be doing more off-road driving and you just want that heritage of the Jeep, you know, the Jeep can offer you a little bit extra benefits given it has a solid axle. So there are some trade-offs to either one, but just kind of depends on what you're looking for. Overall, if you want a fun, adventurous SUV that is something like nothing else, I think a Wrangler is something pretty neat, even a Sport S. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, stay tuned for plenty more content. And big shout out and thank you once again to Feeney, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram for providing this 2024 Wrangler for today's video. Take a look at their website linked below, and I'll see you all in the next video.